Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, and today we're back with another weapon discussion, this time talking about the hunting horn, the lance, and the longsword. Of course, that means I'm joined by 269 in Paradise Central. How you guys doing?
Hey,
doing great.
Oh yes, this is going to be a good one because of course, I know 26 is, well, I mean, to be fair, you guys both were waiting for the longsword. I know 26 is the longsword user, but both of you guys were super excited for it, and I mean, look, we're going to get to that later, but longsword definitely got some spicy new stuff, but some weapons seem to have got a little bit shafted as well, so we're going to talk about all of them. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the new weapon moves. Has your weapon been buffed? Has your weapon been nerfed? How is your weapon feeling? And of course, don't forget to keep it locked. But let's start with Hunting Horn, because of course that one dropped last week, and we sort of pushed it out into this week. So let's begin on the Doot Doots, because it actually did get some kind of cool new stuff. What are you guys thinking about?
It really did. It really got some cool. At least the new Silk Bind, which I guess we'll talk about in a second. I'm personally super excited for. You guys know I played a lot of Hunting Horn in the Rise demo back when Hunting Horn was at its prime, if you remember. I destroyed the hard mode Magnamalo with Hunting Horn, even though I really don't play a lot of Hunting Horn. It was that powerful. But you also know from past Monster Hunter games, I love a status weapon. I love my exhaust damage, you know? I love my part rate, I love my stun. And that's why I'm super excited about the new move.
Definitely. So yeah, let's recap this. So the new move, the Silk Bind Shockwave, is attack that wraps around your weapon in iron silk, and for a short period of time, any attack you perform causes the silk to vibrate, causing a time-delayed shockwave that triggers additional hits. These additional hits do major stun, major exhaust, and major part damage. So basically, you can think of it as like, once you've applied this, again, it's a buff in a similar sort of manner to some other weapons, so you can, of course, apply it, then switch back to another Silk Bind move if you prefer, and of course, then you have these time-delayed time-delayed shockwaves. So you can kind of see it as like almost every hit just has multiple hits. And when you factor in that Hunting Horn has the whole like put down spin to win sort of thing, you know, like when you go and do the break dance combo into the where you stab it in the ground, spin it around like a spinning top, that was already like a pretty nuts move for KO. You do that on the monster's head and like it was probably going to get KO'd anyway, and now you have something that just buffs it so you then get additional delayed hits. Like, this is going to be insane.
I want to say one thing as well. Bead of Resonance. This is a shockwave attack. Will it work? If you pop down a Bead of Resonance, then you buff your weapon, then every attack is triggering double the shockwaves for double the effect, which would be kind of nuts.
I reckon this. I'm hoping they think about this stuff. I'm hoping they really have, like, because Bead of Resonance, it 100% was useful, but I feel like it wasn't as used as other moves, right? So
definitely
maybe
not. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Not very much used before.
Yeah.
It's so funny hearing Alex talk about the Hunting Horn, because it's one of those weapons that he obviously has love for, but right now at the moment he's not using it much. So he's just like, yeah, the Hunting Horn. It's got a cool move. I like it. But he doesn't know how to necessarily apply it when the game actually drops. Until you have your hands on some of these weapons, you're not going to really get a feel for how good these changes actually are. But this all of this stuff sounds like really cool, doesn't it? Though, in general, it sounds cool, but maybe not as exciting as some of the other weapons that we're going to talk about later. But definitely, just having additional sonic waves, and maybe if it does interact with the bead, we're just going to be sending out waves all the time, and this could be one of the highest DPS weapons if it all stacks up. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it actually plays out, because some of the times things look good on paper, and it's the complete opposite.
I think ultimately, Hunting Horn is you could say it's the support weapon, right? So
whoa, you're going to get some people getting angry in the comments, Paradise. Be careful what you say.
It buffs your teammates, it gives them defense, it can heal them, it gives them attack. It's a support-oriented weapon. It can still hold its own. It's still very viable solo. It buffs yourself as well, which is great. But with that support aspect in mind, doing more stun but also exhaust and part break is really good. Exhaust is an underrated status. If you actually exhaust a monster, the fight becomes significantly easier for everyone else on the team, including yourself. So I really like that. I've always liked exhaust, and I love seeing more things utilize it.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true. And Hunting Horn also got a new combo as well. It got the switch skill combo, swing combo, which again, this was one of those situations whereby, like, you know, until you actually get your hands on, you're not really going to sort of like know the true value of it. But it's basically a 2-hit combo that can basically be delivered either from left or right. So Hunting Horns always had those kind of recital style moves where, you know, you can sort of, depending on your input, you can direct whether it, you know, where you move. But this one specifically is designed for shifting directions. So basically, it's like a nice little sort of reposition move again. So I'm sure it will definitely be very useful. But I definitely think this is more so one of those ones that's like geared for just putting you in the right place. Because I think a lot of things, when you look at the way they flow with like the switch skill, especially when you've got like switch skill evade and things like that, then it's all about kind of like performing that move, getting yourself in the right place to like maximize that damage. So could be cool, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, the weapon in general in Rise is super fun to use as well, from the changes that they've made from previous Hunting Horn iterations. So these additions just make it have a little bit more quality of life in general, and just a little bit more DPS. So I'm excited to try this out and make some tunes. I wish though they actually added in like full on sounds, like, you know, those mods that you get on PC for Hunting Horn where you can get full on like doot doots. If they were gonna do
proper tunes,
like if they were gonna do like DLC, like that's acceptable DLC to me. Like some doot doots for my Hunting Horn.
Yeah.
I need that.
That is true. That would be really cool. That would definitely be cool. But let's move on to the Lance, which I think we'll all agree got a little bit shafted. Well, I mean, okay. Again, let's be clear. We are basing all of these comments purely on the preview videos. We haven't had a chance to try it out, so of course we won't know until we try it. Maybe we'll pick it up and we'll be like, damn, this is hella awesome. But from the previews, some of these weapons look just super cool. Before you even like know what the move does, you just see it in action. You're like, whoa, this is crazy. Lance. It was kind of like it's almost like Lance was like, well, let me borrow a move from Insect Glaive and then let me just like duplicate one of my moves and like let's talk about it, right? So Lance has obviously got Skyward Thrust, so it's a technique. It's basically like the Insect Glaive Wyvern Dive, a little bit different, but you launch yourself up and then you launch yourself down. It's a cool, like, it's a probably a useful move. It's got like, you know, pinpoint damage. Hopefully, given the sort of like precise nature of it, hopefully it does some good damage. But it is basically just an up-down move, which is very similar to Insect Glaive Wyvern Wyvern, or
very
like
similar.
or Sword and Shield like Metsu Shorugeki, albeit less visually exciting. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I am very, very disappointed with this, because I just don't even think it suits the Lance playstyle that much. Like, let me pitch this move to you, but with one slight twist to it. Okay, instead of going up down, you go forwards and back, because then it's like a massive poke retreat.
But Lance already got one, and don't forget.
It's literally spiral. It's vertical spiral thrust. Like,
yeah,
basically.
They basically said, let's take this move and twist it slightly.
I just don't understand what they were thinking. It's literally the same move as the Insect Glaive, but probably worse, because at least with the Insect Glaive, you know, as everyone discovered, like your aerial combos like increased your damage on it, so it actually was kind of chunky. Unless this thing just hits like an absolute truck, I don't understand it.
Yeah. We'll have to see.
This is one. It just doesn't make any sense. So this must be one of those ones where, like, once we get our hands on, we know what the motion values are and what everything is going on, that it'll be a good move. Because remember, like, spiral thrust for the Lance, that bodies things like in Rise. So maybe this thing, as Paradise says, maybe it does hit like a truck, and maybe it is like really cool. But for now, it's just funny listening to people being like really disappointed with it. I love the Lance, but like I want to see it like fully top tier like weapon with all some like really cool kit, because there's some stuff that they could do with the Lance that they haven't necessarily done from like having that Lance archetype in like other games, not necessarily Monster Hunter, but just Lances in general in games. But they haven't done any of that stuff really for Monster Hunter. They've really kept it as that super defensive counter mechanic type weapon. The only thing that they've really added in was Spiral Thrust.
Yeah, it definitely is. I hope maybe that it has like insane part rate damage. So like if you can be precise, it can be like a one-stop tail cutter or something, which could be kind of cool. But yeah, definitely feels a bit like, especially when you factor in there are some weapons that get some like, even just the animations for some of the moves are so different. I know maybe this is a slightly, you know, more grounded weapon than something like a, you know, a sword and shield or a long sword and stuff, but still, like, visually it's not as interesting. But then we have the shield tackle, which this is the hard one. Like, you watch the preview video and they don't really do a good job of showing quite what you're really going to use it for, because you've already got the guard tackle, or like, you know, the kind of regular guard you can already do. And the animation for shield tackle was largely speaking the same, but albeit there's a blue flash and like you can do some different moves. It's described as a technique where you charge forward with your shield raised, and then you can also follow up with a variety of thrusting attacks. Now obviously Lance is already thrusting attacks, so the demonstration they used in gameplay basically just looked like the same other move. You just dash through this move and you thrust with the Lance. The only kind of different thing you could sort of discern was given the blue flash. Potentially it has greater guard value, so maybe you can do this almost like, you know how in World there was that stance with Lance which was basically like guard up, so you can block like anything. Like maybe that's where this comes in, where it's like one of those ones where it has like greater guarding capacity, so you can then just do it through like, I don't know, laser beams or something ridiculous. But it didn't really jump out as like, whoa, this is cool.
I don't know. There's certain moves like this and the Charge Blade one that I just don't look all that cool, but yeah, it could be good. It could be good. It is a tackle. Maybe it just means that you can just like keep your offensive up as much as possible, and maybe there's some skills that benefit from it, like that you can slot into your thing. Isn't there like there's offensive skills that you can slot into your armor that could maybe like benefit from this and maybe keep up your damage or just keep you in a fight a little bit longer.
I'm like infinitely disappointed that they didn't give some kind of switch skill or Silkbind that lets you like attack while mounted on your Palamute as a lance. you just run it. You see people running around with their lance on the back of their Palamute.
That would have been
poking
amazing.
Monsters and charging.
Amazing, definitely. Yeah, that would be really cool. However, let's talk about like clearly. I mean, people at Capcom must just love the longsword and be like, let's just give it everything, because now longsword is basically becoming a great sword and like everything. It's like take all the best bits. Is pick a mix. 26, do you want to talk to us about this because it's your weapon?
So, the weapon that was the weakest weapon in Monster Hunter Rise has gotten even worse. It is now terrible. So basically what they've done is they've added a move where this counters, where you counter, you get even more damage off your counters, like the longsword. The longsword before, guys, it just didn't do enough damage on the counters, so they thought, let me add additional damage to the countering by adding in something called Silkbind Harvest Moon. It adds a little circle around you, and you know what it gives you guys? Because the longsword wasn't doing enough damage before? A circle that gives you infinite spirit gauge.
It really needed that. It really needed it.
It really needed it. It really needed it.
Did.
You know, alongside that as well, they've got another sheath. And this one, if you get it correctly and you don't get hit, you do greatsword type charging move on it. So you basically got greatsword capability on your longsword. Now we win either scenario. We're having it's hard times for us longsword users.
I know. How do we get
It's
fired?
been a hard, Rise was really a struggle for longsword mains, but now, they're giving you what you needed. Just buffs across the board.
There's buffs across the board.
You know somebody's going to really watch this video and think you're being serious, right? They're going to be like, what do you mean? Longsword was so powerful. Are you guys stupid? That was sarcasm, guys. Just so you know.
That was sarcasm all the way through.
I feel like we have to say it. Somebody will be like, what? These guys don't know what they're talking about. It was broken. Now it's even more broken. Yeah. But it does look crazy. I saw a funny comment. Someone was like, so longsword is greatsword now, and greatsword is longsword now, because greatsword has the fast attacking moves.
Yeah. It's actually nuts. I like that though.
Yeah.
I like it and I don't like it in a way. Like obviously they're kind of changing the identities of weapons, but for the portable games at least, the weapons always, like even in GU, they felt a bit more loose and wild with what they could like have. So obviously if they ever make like another proper numbered like mainline game, then I would suspect that will be more akin to their proper identities of those weapons or whatever. But until that day, we're going to get some crazy longsword where you can keep up your counter potential and you can chop things. The combo, oh my gosh, the sheath on this move is like one of the dirtiest, coolest, sickest, most anime things that I've ever seen in a Monster Hunter game. Like, it just looks super Virgil. I can't remember what the Virgil move is called that he does, but it just looks awesome.
Yeah, 100%. Like, it's interesting though, because I mean, like, I can't wait to sort of see what it's like to actually use in combat, because like the wind up for it is quite long. Like when you think about it, you have to do it off the back of this thing. You have to sheath first, and it seemed like there was like a delay on the sheath, and then obviously once you've done that, then you charge up the charge thing. So it's like obviously they were doing it on like a downed Nagakuga. So I want to sort of see, and they also said like the damage increases according to the level of the spirit gauge you've got. So I wonder whether that also means like, because you know, like at the end of it, it finishes like a multi-hit combo, which also looks nuts.
Yeah.
Maybe like if you do it off of just like first charge, maybe you only get part of that combo. Then if you do it off red charge, you get the whole thing. So I can't wait to sort of see like what the actual flow is, like how it actually like plays out. But yeah, that is it looks really cool. Like you guys know that I'm the sword and shield guy, right? And I'm still gonna play sword and shield. Let's be clear. I'm still gonna main Sunbreak, sword and shield. But I saw this today in chat with like 26 Paradise and Socks. I was like, yo, this makes me kind of want to play longsword.
That's what they're doing. They're trying to make everyone want to play longsword. To be honest,
this is true. If everyone plays longsword, then it can't be overpowered because then everyone's.
Maybe they're trying to be efficient, so they're making it. And then when they get the data that everyone's moved to longsword, they'll be like, right, we're going to remove 13 weapons so we can make our lives easier, and we'll just make longsword hunter.
But it's worth saying. It's worth noting though that if you get attacked while you're charging for the sheath combo, you will not only be cancelled out of it, but you will lose a spirit gauge charge as well.
True,
so it is a risk-reward move. But on that same topic, from watching the trailer, and it could be the way they cut it and edited it, I didn't feel like it was that long to execute it, like comparatively to someone's like a full charge greatsword, true charge chop, right? It didn't look.
It was pretty long though. It was pretty long. Like if you go back and watch it again, like it was pretty long because you do initial sheath and then you have the charge afterwards. So it was like a literal 5 to 6 seconds of like charging where you don't necessarily get massive windows to do that unless the monster's like down. So again, if people are charging up and they miss that, then rip them.
I like the name of the Silkbind, Harvest Moon. Shout out to Harvest Moon.
I want to know, in this the same question we always ask whenever there's an AoE thing, but I'm going to ask the same thing again. What happens if 4 of these are put down? Do we get quadruple attacks on the counters? If there are 4 Harvest Moons layered on top of each other.
That would be nuts.
You do.
Imagine like 4 longsword users all in the ring, just like, this is over.
I hope they thought about that because that could be insane. Like, I'm down. I want to try that as soon as Sunbreak comes out. I'm gonna get the longsword. I'm gonna say 2-6.
We're going to the lab, guys. We're gonna do some testing. We're gonna spend all our time in the training room. I want to see the new training room as well. That would be cool. But anyway, yes. Looks super cool, but those are the weapons. There are now 2 left to speak about, which of course will be dropping soon, and that is the dual blades and the light bowgun. So very interested to see that. I feel like maybe they should have saved the longsword till the very last day because it's going to be kind of hard to top that now, but we shall see. So that's it for the time being. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments down below what you guys think. If you have not seen some of our recent videos, you can check out one of the ones linked on screen, and we'll catch you in the next one.